Hey everyone, Natalie Faupel from Montana State University Northern here. You are entering a very exciting time in your life where you get to begin making decisions for your future. Throughout this process, you may endure some challenges and face some doubt, but here's my advice for you. Don't stress about having to know exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life. Sure, take note of hobbies that you enjoy and areas of work that excite you, but understand that we don't find out what we are actually passionate about until we try something. So try different career pathways, ask questions, and take the world by storm. Remember, this time is about finding you and becoming the best you that you can be. When you're applying for colleges, just know that we also have this vision in mind and want to help you reach your full potential, no matter what decision you make.
Hi folks, my name is Reagan. I am one of our admissions counselors here at Whitworth University in Spokane, Washington. My one tip for students starting the college search would be to ask all the questions. You have so many people in your corner who are rooting for you and are a resource for you. So whether that's high school counselors, teachers, your admissions counselors, friends, family, everybody alongside you is rooting for you. So definitely lean on them for support.
Welcome everyone. We are here today with education professionals from across Montana and out of state who have come together to help students learn about their options after high school, but most importantly, wise tips on how to be successful after high school. And so we're going to do just a little discussion on tips that we would like to share with students. And I think the first question I would like to ask the panel of representatives we have today is, if you were to think back to being a sophomore or junior in high school, what is one bit of wisdom or tip you wish you would have known?
I can jump in real quick.
Thanks, Kaylin.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, and as someone who spent years as a high school guidance counselor, if there's a thing you're passionate about and that you love, there is a job doing it. Don't think that just because you have a weird or obscure passion, that there aren't jobs where you can do those things.
Awesome. Thanks, Kaylin.
And I would piggyback on that to say, ask for help. Don't stop dreaming. You have this dream, follow it and ask for help. Find that path.
Great. Thanks, Mary Ellen. I would also just remind our panelists, please feel free to introduce yourself and say where you're from too, so students get a feel of where these great tips are coming from.
Yeah. So I'm Nancy. I'm from Northern Arizona University. I kind of want to piggyback off of the other comments and definitely say, don't be afraid to ask questions. It always seems a little bit scary to ask a question, or you think maybe this is a silly question or a small question, but that's why we're here. We do this every single day, and we're the subject matter experts, and we don't expect you to be. And as a person who was a first generation student going to college in my family, I had a lot of questions and really no one in my family to answer those. So don't be afraid to ask whatever you can. You are your number one advocate.
Thanks, Nancy. Great.
This is Sean Coleman from Rocky Mountain College here in Billings. I know when I was a sophomore and junior, I had trouble thinking outside of my box of high school and where I was at. So I would definitely encourage all of you students to get outside of your comfort zone and expand your horizons and look for opportunities that maybe make you uncomfortable, because that's where you'll see the most growth and you'll find the most opportunities.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
Hello, my name is Brianna Clark. I'm with Western Colorado University. And one thing I really wish I would have known in high school is you don't have to have it all figured out yet. Part of life in college especially is exploring and finding those new opportunities and then deciding where you're going. So cut yourself a little slack if you're not 100% sure yet.
Thanks, Brianna. Great advice.
I think one of the things that I would say is, or even I would have liked to have had when I was in high school, is the ability to go out and do job shadowing. I think that is a great place to just see if that occupation or whatever is the right fit for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Donetta.
I'm Heather from Southwestern Oregon Community College, and I think a big thing that I would have really enjoyed and I think would have benefited me more was talking more to my teachers and counselors and principal, vice principal, and see what, how they got to the point in their life where they're at. Because for myself, I changed my major 4 times. So they've probably got a lot of experience and different suggestions they can give you on how to be successful in chasing something you're interested in.
Great. Thanks so much, Heather.
My name's Madison, and I'm one of the admission counselors with Linfield University in Oregon. But to actually kind of piggyback off of what Heather just shared, I think as you're connecting with your teachers throughout high school too, think about who you might want to have write a letter of recommendation for you. I wish that was something I would have started brainstorming earlier, but it's never too early to start making those mental notes.
Awesome. Thanks, Madison.
I'm Chrissy Stokes with the University of Montana Western, and I would say don't just look at one part of what you're looking for in college, look at the entire picture. So of course you want to go to a school that has the degree you're looking at, and if you're bouncing back between a couple, make sure it has multiple options that you might be interested in, but also look at like the school reputation. I know a lot of us want to go to those big name schools, but that might not be the right fit for you. You can look at costs, location, extracurriculars, because you're going to be there for a while, so you want to make sure that it's going to fit everything that you're looking for.
Thanks, Chrissy. Great.
My name is Caitlin, and I'm with the University of Providence. So I know applying for colleges can be a scary process and a little overwhelming. So don't be afraid to ask lots of questions and just gather as much information as possible. Taking that leap of faith, don't be afraid to try new things, and just really enjoy the journey that you guys are about to embark on.
Thanks, Caitlin.
I think I might want to piggyback off of what Madison said. My name is Connor. I'm an admissions representative from Great Falls College. I think one of the most frustrating things is when you're applying for schools, looking at jobs, is that all your documents, your resumes, your experiences are scattered all over the place. Like you have physical copies, you got virtual copies. That's really frustrating. Take it easy on yourself. Make sure you put all that documentation in one place, like Google Drive. There's also some planning tools where you can put it all in like this virtual locker. So that's what I would recommend doing.
Great. Thanks, Connor. Anyone else want to share any great tips so far? Good work, everyone.
This is Kathy from Helena College, and I just want to encourage students to be themselves and choose a pathway that's right for them, not what their parents want or what grandma and grandpa want or whatever, but something that you know is right for you and that it's your passion, not someone else's.
Hi, this is Stephanie Cowan with City College at MSU Billings. My piece of advice for you in your search is to check out the campus that you're looking at. See if they have the program, the degree, and then take a tour, because that will tell you if it's a good fit for you. Also encourage you to check out the community that the college is in, because that's a place that you're going to be spending a fair amount of time in as well.
Hello, my name is Paige Johnson, and I'm an admission counselor with North Dakota State University in Fargo, North Dakota. I have many pieces of advice for high school students who are looking at college, but one piece of advice that I would give you all is not only ask schools about your major, so whether you're interested in architecture or environmental engineering or theater, definitely make sure that the school has the major you're interested in, but also ask what resources they have for students who decide to change their major or come in undecided. Many incoming students to higher education will change their major, which is totally okay. College is a really great way to explore your interests. And of course, you're not expected to know exactly what you want to study when you come in. And so if you do change your mind, I think it's really important to know that the school that you are considering has resources available for you if you do decide to change your major.
Piece of advice to underclassmen in high school would be to take your time deciding what you want to do in the future. I feel like I changed my mind multiple amount of times. Even once I arrived in college, I still continue to change my mind to this day. But there's no rush. I feel like as long as you find something you're passionate for, like that's what matters in the end. You don't want to rush into a career that you're not going to pursue and waste your time. So just time is very valuable. And I mean, the high schoolers listening in on this might not take this seriously, but it's going to fly by like that. And once you get to college, it's going to go by even faster. So just take advantage of every day. Popcorn. Andres.
So my biggest advice, well, my name's Andres and I'm a business student. My biggest advice for high school students is to just show up. There's a lot of times where you just don't feel like going to class or you don't just really want to go, but if you show up, you'll succeed. And another thing is to not doubt yourself. I find myself doubting myself a lot when I shouldn't, and just have faith in yourself. Popcorn, Lisha.
All right. Well, my name's Lisha, and I think that a good advice right now would be just don't be afraid to change your major. If you came to college with a major set, but you figure out that you don't like that no more and that you want to change it to something else, that you feel like you shouldn't be discouraged about it. Popcorn test.
Hi everybody, I'm Chaz. So one piece of advice I would have for high schoolers, I guess, would be that just explore your skills, while you're still young, explore, try new things, maybe try picking up an instrument or something if you haven't, try to pick up a new language. I mean, you still have a lot of time, and that kind of goes with just figuring out what you want to do once you get into college, because there might be things you find out that you're good at that you would have never expected. And I'd also say just get used to getting your name out there, introducing yourself to people. Don't be afraid to take opportunities. If somebody says, hey, I'm going to this event or I'm going somewhere and they invite you, I mean, just go. I mean, you'll gain a lot of skills that way, and it'll really help expand your worldview as you go into college. And I guess I'll popcorn to Gabe.
For my advice, I'd say just don't miss out on your opportunities. There's so much that's going to be waved at your face that you might think you don't identify with or don't want to try, but you never know what could happen that could lead you to somewhere, a new passion. And especially with money, if you're scared about money, it's easy to get paid in college, but do the right things, get your grades good, stay involved, do those simple things, and it goes a long way. So yeah, be on top of it and don't miss those opportunities. You don't want to be looking back at college wishing you would have done stuff. That's how most of us are here. We never regret anything. So take that mentality on. And I'll popcorn Angel.
So my biggest piece of advice would probably be just to take advantage of the opportunities as they come up, and also make sure you don't rush anything. If you're not feeling like going to school right after high school, just take a break and think about it. That way you don't come here and get burnt out real quick. And also just do your research on different programs, different schools. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I'd give. I will popcorn Maria.
So I'm Maria Alvarez, and some good advice is to really just understand procrastination. Don't deny that you're not that you're going to procrastinate, because at the end of the day, we all procrastinate. And as long as you have a healthy relationship with procrastination, it's okay. Jennifer, do you want to go?
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and my biggest piece of advice would probably be to learn how to communicate, whether that's with your professors or your teachers if you're in high school, or just learning to ask for help by going to SI sessions from your professors, from people around you that you need emotional support from, popcorn Maida.
Hi, my name is Maida, and a piece of advice that I knew back in high school regarding college would be looking more into like scholarships and reaching out to faculty and professors. Everyone is always willing to help, and there's just so many resources out there. Popcorn Erin?
Do you want to go first? Fine. My piece of advice is to have fun. As someone out of college now and starting grad school, the moments I remember most are the moments that were just free and weren't restricted and didn't necessarily happen in a classroom. They were getting involved in different activities, going to different conferences, like people said, talking to teachers outside of classrooms. Those are the moments that I remember the most. What advice do you have?
Hi, I'm Miriam, and I think one piece of advice that I have is don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. I consider myself an introvert, and had I not stepped out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't have found myself here in the Multicultural Center, nor with the opportunities that I've been granted with in these past 4 years. So, yeah.
Hey everybody, my name is Keely Dowd. I work at Montana State University in Billings. I am happy to be here today, and I just wanted to pass along a quick tip. If you have not had a chance, I would encourage you to get out there and start visiting some college campuses. That way you kind of get a feel for if the school's a good fit for you.
We know how important financial aid and financial and scholarship support is to this journey after high school. And even though I don't believe anyone on this call is a financial aid expert, so we'll start with that. But I would love, as experts in education and new student services, what advice in general would you give for students on seeking support for financial aid and scholarships and just taking those first financial literacy or financial steps in planning for options after high school? I open it up to you guys.
I think it's really important, like we kind of talked about on the other question, to be open and willing to ask questions. I think a lot of people don't realize what opportunities they have available to them until they're presented. So I think it's important to be proactive in asking those questions and asking for help, because it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah, I think also having, Nancy from NAU, I think having a timeline is important. I always mean by that is, yes, schools have timelines for scholarships, for FAFSA, all of that, but have an internal timeline. So what I usually advise my students is in about September, October, have a conversation with your teachers, counselors, whoever you want to ask for a letter of recommendation, and have that conversation with them of possibly giving that to you before you go into winter break. So then as a lot of scholarship portals start to open in December, in January, you have all those pieces already and you're ahead of the game. You're not scrounging last minute to get letters of recommendation or complete your essays. So just having that timeline to give yourself time to prepare and send off those letters of recommendation and essays think it's wonderful. And obviously ask us as your admissions person, where are your scholarships? Because we oftentimes have everything in one or two portals, so it's super easy for you to apply to those. So don't be afraid to ask and have that internal timeline.
I'll build off of what Nancy just said. This is Callan from Prescott College. And I'll say along with that timeline, get started early. Scholarships will come up and their application deadlines will close before you know it. And every single year I talk to dozens of students who come in last minute and say, okay, where am I going to get my scholarships now? And I say, well, those application deadlines already passed. So get started early, start finding those scholarships, and build out a calendar for yourself where you know what are the application deadlines for all of these different scholarships that I'm looking at.
I want to piggyback on what Kellen said. You shouldn't wait till your senior year. Actually, in the Montana Career Information System, you can look up all these scholarships and save them into your portfolio as a sophomore and a junior, so that you can, even though it's for another another year, you can still have those scholarships in your library and start looking at what they're requiring. And don't wait until your senior year. I would start looking earlier and putting them in this portfolio and saving it. Like Connor said, I think it was, you can save all your information on that MCIS, but don't wait until you're a senior. I think this it's a lot of work to apply for these scholarships. But you think about it, if you go to work, you work 40 hours a week, that's like 40 hours, but if you put half that time into writing a scholarship, you could get twice as much money. So it is worth the time to put into it. But I think you should start when you're like a sophomore and a junior to start looking at the scholarships that are there. And when they said ask for help, ask for help. I think every one of us on this page could show you where to look for these scholarships. We definitely could show you where to look for them in your career lab, but don't wait until you're a senior. I think you should start earlier. It's amazing. We let you be a kid and then you become a senior and boom, you have to make decisions right away. Well, we should start earlier. Let's start younger. Let's start working on this. You don't grow up in one year or one day. So take the time and do the research and save it.
Thanks, Mary Ellen.
This is Zimmerman from Carroll College. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions. And just like everyone said, you can even contact any of us here that are offering answers. We're here to help you. And even if you ask them as sophomores or juniors, when are your deadlines for certain scholarships? Typically, we have those scholarships and they're oftentimes at the same deadline every year. So we can help you to get that timeline created. So you can work with each of us and get those different dates. So then you can build an Excel sheet that lists out everything so that you know all the different colleges and when specific scholarships are. So please use us. We're here to help you in this college search.
Great. I absolutely agree. I mean, there's a lot of good information. This is Sean Coleman from Rocky Mountain College in Billings. I recommend keeping your options, or at least being available to applying to all and scholarships of any value. A lot of students will typically try to gravitate towards those larger scholarships, but sometimes some of those $250, $500 scholarships are just as beneficial. And if you get enough of those, that makes a huge dent. As Mary Ellen said, if you take 2 hours to fill out scholarships and you get a $500 scholarship, that's $250 an hour. So I really recommend, don't be afraid of those small scholarships.
Great, thank you guys. You're coming up with some really great feedback for students. Alexa, did I see you were wanting to chime in too?
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, my name is Alexa. I am with Westminster College. And one thing I wanted to add is that a lot of colleges and universities, as well as your high schools, often have events to learn about financial aid and scholarship. And so attend those, or a lot have gone virtual. And so, attend those virtually or watch the recordings. A lot of institutions also have opportunities for one-on-one meetings with financial aid counselors. There are so many people who are interested in connecting with you, who are invested in your success. And so, just kind of what we've all been saying, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out. It always brightens our day to hear from you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. This is Western Colorado University. My name's Brianna.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Alex.
And we have some great pieces of advice for you for your college search process.
My number one tip is to make sure you visit all the schools you're interested in. You can start visiting those campuses by your junior year, going into your senior year, but make sure you visit those schools. It's crucial. You're looking for your next home, and you gotta be happy with it. So.
And my piece of advice is to take challenging courses if they're offered your sophomore through senior year.
And my rule of thumb for you is that the answer is always no if you do not ask. So if there's an opportunity or something that you're looking for, ask those questions. Thanks, everyone, and good luck.
Good luck.
Tips, whether it's questions they should be asking or preparing for the event, how can a student be successful at these virtual or in-person college and career fairs?
I'll take first on this one. Hi, my name is Sean over at Rocky Mountain College. As you're going through these virtual events, I recommend having 4 or 5 questions that you want to talk to each school about so you can have a good comparison. Sometimes it can be overwhelming talking to a lot of different schools. That are all have a great stories, and having some differentiating questions will help you separate and identify the best fit for you.
And this is Elizabeth Zimmerman from Carroll College. I'd like to just kind of add on with what Sean said. One great thing is within those questions, have some questions that maybe you can't find on the website. So ask what a school's favorite campus tradition is, or depending on what you're looking for in a school, ask them some of those questions that maybe you can't quite find that answer on the website. So ask us to describe what opportunities, internships, careers come from, different majors, but try and see if you can ask some of those questions as well.
Really great. This is Brianna with Western Colorado University. And one piece of advice I have with you at college fair, whether in person or virtual, is expand the colleges that you're looking and talking at. So definitely talk to the colleges that you know the names and you've heard of them before, but definitely stop in and talk to someone in a college that you've maybe never heard of before or had never learned anything about, because they might be a really great option for you and have something you've never even thought about, and it really will spark some questions for you.
I'll build off of what Brianna was saying. This is Callan at Prescott College, that there's so many different colleges out there. I mean, there are thousands across the US. There are dozens just within your local area. So looking outside of that, beyond just what do I know, what am I comfortable with, what am I familiar with, and looking at what are all of the different opportunities available for me, and what do those different schools offer to make it so that there are so many different schools, is going to be really key in making your educational journey successful.
This is Paige Johnson with North Dakota State University. One thing that really helped me when I was looking at a variety of schools, because it's overwhelming. They're giving you a lot of information. They only have a limited amount of time to talk to you. Make a pros and cons list. It was really easy after I had visited a school to just look at my pros and cons list from that school and compare and contrast that to other schools that I was looking at. And so I think that's a really easy way to kind of disseminate a lot of information and have that list handy with you throughout your sophomore, junior, and your senior year. And maybe that list changes and grows over time.
I'm Heather Weber from Southwestern Oregon Community College, and I think to piggyback off of that, it's really important to add in what your preferences are and those pros and cons, and make sure you're going to a place that really draws your interest. You have to be happy at that location just as much as we all want you at our colleges. You've got to really enjoy being there as well. So it's definitely important to have those preferences within your pros and cons list.
Hey, Nancy at Northern Arizona University again. I think the biggest thing that I would really say is, one, fairs are always overwhelming, and then in virtual world, it's a little bit different. So of course we said have questions, but the thing that I would also suggest is have a Word document open, have, the school, type in the school's name, but also any links that people share with you. If you see the representative's email, just attach that to each school by the name, so you have that organized in one location. It's really easy to go back and look at that, and maybe write a note or two of like, really interesting that they're, in a mountainous town and I didn't know that, or whatever you want to put in there. Just something that would really highlight why you had a sparked interest in that institution. And also, I know it was said before, but keeping an open mind and then considering options. I was very, very set on I'm going to California, and then I ended up staying within the state of Arizona, and really didn't think that I was going to go to the college that I went to, but it was just perfect when I actually opened up my eyes to it. So I think just being open-minded and looking at different options.
This is Chrissy Stokes with the University of Montana Western in Dillon. And I would also say, especially with colleges and coming out of high school, you're used to doing a lot of things with your friends and with your group, but make sure you think for yourself. What college is going to work for your friend may not be the best fit for you. So you have to look at what's important to you personally, and you can always take advice from the people in your life, but you want to make sure that you're making the right decision for you and talking to the colleges that can get you what you need.
We've had some really great feedback so far. I'd love to open up for anyone else who'd like to share.
I would like to, when I work with my students, I always tell them, when you're going to go buy a car, you're going to invest your money into it, and it's going to represent who you are. And you have all these questions. Well, if you want a 4-wheel drive, or if you want a sports car, and it fits who you are. Well, I say, do that investigation with the school, and remember what your money you're putting into the school is going to affect you for the rest of your life. So it's just like kind of buying a new car, only even more intense, and it's really going to make an impact on your life.
Thanks, Mary Ellen. Thanks everyone for sharing. Does anybody have any final words to share with students before we close out this panel group?
I have one more parting thought. So my name is Madison with Linfield University. I think something that is really helpful too is there truly is no stupid question when you're chatting with admission counselors. I know all of us here would be happy to do a deep dive and define what is a major, talk about that, or get into nitty-gritty details about loans and payment plans, right? So please don't hesitate or think that your question is too intense or too simple. We're happy to chat about it all with you.
Great, Madison. Wonderful reminder. Other last words?
I think I'd like to make one last word. Again, my name is Connor. I'm an admissions rep with Great Falls College. I think some of the advice that we get about, for example, follow your passion can be a little misleading, because I think once you go off to college, you find that you like doing a billion different things, no joke. So I think it's okay to understand that if you end up maybe changing your major halfway through school, or you have different ideas about what you want to do, that's completely fine. I knew one guy who changed majors 7 times and he's still doing okay. That's pretty ridiculous, but the point is you can be successful and it's okay. Just take a breather.